You may have heard about the school strike, climate strike march that was globally today. There was a good turnout in Hobart, Tasmania. There's about 22,000 people turned out to that climate strike march or climate strike protest, and so that was great. It probably should have happened about 25 years ago, but better late than never, I guess. There's also about 100,000 people turned out in Melbourne. Melbourne has quite a significant population. So 22,000 for Hobart's actually the biggest march that's ever been held in Tasmania, so that was really great. And I'll just show you a quick few photos, and I'll show you the banner that we'll have next time there's a climate march. It'll be a few foot long and a few foot wide, and so that'll be nice to have a banner to point out that we all need to go vegan. I know that some of you who watch this channel, you may not be vegan, and you may think, oh, I wish you'd stop talking about that. But I feel like it's my moral obligation to continue to bang that drum, because it is not a small thing. Being vegan, as I'll show you in these next two memes, 119 countries, 40,000 farms, from farm to fork, the largest science study to date that was published in the journal Science. And the answer they came up with, the conclusion was that a vegan diet is the single biggest action one can take to address not only the climate emergency, but also land use, land degradation, water shortages, eutrophication and acidification of the oceans. It's the most important thing one can do, as well as non-violent civil disobedience, which I think is the only thing at this point that will actually get any change. And sadly, when you make it so that people have to, when non-violent protests don't make for any change, when corporate-owned politicians are ignoring non-violent protests, the next thing in line is violent protests. And I feel like that's probably in the future will be coming, unfortunately. I prefer non-violent civil disobedience, because it tends to always be the one that's most successful. If you have violence, it ends up being addictive, as Chris Hedges said, and then you have people that are bullies and the problematic people that you don't want in power eventually go into power. That's what happens with violent revolutions. You end up with the same kinds of people. So anyway, so I was happy to see, it made me very happy to see so many people out today in Hobart. And September 20th, 2019, and the Extinction Rebellion action, I don't know if it's a global one, but it's on, I think, October the 7th. I had a look at their webpage, still hoping against hope that they would have asked people to go vegan, but no, instead they ask people to donate, which is what large animal organizations do, instead of asking people to go vegan, which is what every animal group that says that they're for rights of non-human animals or whatever, they all should be asking people first to go vegan before they donate anything. And you cannot discharge your moral obligations by making donations. It just doesn't work. So it was sad to see there were 4 things that they suggested on Extinction Rebellion, and not one of them was to go vegan. So I write that organization off, and I know that they say, well, it's not really an organization, but it has representatives like Roger Hallam and people like that. And I don't know if Roger Hallam is vegan, but if we're not vegan, then we cannot say we're taking the climate emergency seriously, and we cannot be taking non-violence seriously, or peace. If we claim we're for peace, if we claim we're for non-violence, if we claim we're for justice, and if we claim we're really serious about addressing the climate emergency, then we must be vegan. And you can check out, I'm not going to talk too much more about Extinction Rebellion. I think non-violent civil disobedience is all we have left, and I think it's very important. But I'm extremely disappointed in those who tend to be the gatekeepers of that organization that shut down this important message that we need to go vegan and ask others to go vegan. It's a moral imperative, not just for the climate emergency, but for other animals whom we are killing at a rate of 1 to 3 trillion land and aquatic animals every year for mostly trivial reasons of palate pleasure. And I say palate pleasure because we do not need animal products at all to survive. We can easily meet all our nutrition requirements from plants and other non-animal sources. So the reason we're eating these animal products, beef, meat, dairy, eggs, fish, etc., is because we think they taste good. So do we think that our palate pleasure is more important than our own survival and the survival of most other species on the planet? Do we really? Because if we continue on, if we're not vegan right now, and we know about the science, then we're a science denier. If we're not vegan right now, and we claim we're for nonviolence and justice, then we are deluding ourselves, and it's kind of a hypocrisy. Because if we're only doing these, if we're only eating meat, dairy, eggs, etc., because they taste good, because we don't need them at all to survive, at all, and millions of vegans can attest, and I can too after 15 years of being vegan, I'm completely healthy, I'm completely healthy, healthier than most people I know of my age. If we can't acknowledge that, then what does it say about us? Do we really care about the eco side of the planet? Because that's what's happening. I read something today that there's a mass drop in the amount of birds now. There's like 2 or 3 billion less in the United States, and along with that, insect extinction. Insects are basically dying off. In Germany, that had a 70% drop in insects. And if you think that's not important, without insects, we're finished. And this is all to do, the sixth mass extinction is directly related to the fact that we're not vegan. And we're on the front lines, by the way. We happen to be an animal too. We're not excluded from the sixth mass extinction. So anyway, on a happy note, I'm glad to see so many people care, and I would hope that they would care. And I just wish that every single one of those tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, including children that went out today in Australia and in other countries, that they would go vegan, because it's something you don't need to ask permission for. You don't need to wait for corporations to give you permission, or your family to give you permission, or the government to give you permission. You can do it right now. You can be vegan, and you can do non-violent civil disobedience, and whatever else that you think is going to encourage these corporate-owned politicians to do the right thing. But don't hold your breath for them to do the right thing. In fact, I looked on Twitter today to have a look at what Australian federal Labor politicians were saying about the climate strike today, the school strike, and I didn't notice anybody saying anything about it. Now, I may have missed out on something. Maybe somebody can put in the comments section. I think I saw one from Tasmania, one politician, but that a federal politician. And I saw a couple of local politicians, Ella Haddad from Clark. She was there, but I mean, I don't see any federal politicians mentioning that, which is kind of appalling and tells you what you need to know about their intentions for the future. Maybe I just had a look down their Twitter feed and I didn't see anything. Maybe I missed it. If you did see something on any federal politicians' Twitter feed about the climate strike today, please leave the comments in the comments section. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. So please go vegan. You can check out my Comprehensive Vegan podcast. It's a comprehensive resource in podcast form. It's howtogovegan.org. Please check it out. And thanks so much for watching. Please click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Please click the notifications bell, otherwise you don't receive updates when I drop a video. I hope to be doing a few more videos more frequently soon. It's just that it's spring and I'm pretty busy with this property and fruit trees and all sorts of things. So it gets pretty busy and I can't always do videos when I wish to. So anyway, thanks again for watching. My name's Trish Roberts. You're watching Faint Signals from Vega. Till next time, go vegan. Peace.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I am 15 years old and I'm from Sweden. I speak on behalf of climate justice now. Many people say that Sweden is just a small country and it doesn't matter what we do. But I've learned that you are never too small to make a difference. And if a few children can get headlines all over the world just by not going to school, then imagine what we could all do together if we really wanted to. But to do that, we have to speak clearly, no matter how uncomfortable that may be. You only speak of green, eternal economic growth because you are too scared of being unpopular. You only talk about moving forward with the same bad ideas that got us into this mess, even when the only sensible thing to do is pull the emergency brake. You are not mature enough to tell it like it is. Even that burden you leave to us children. But I don't care about being popular. I care about climate justice and a living planet. Our civilization is being sacrificed for the opportunity of a very small number of people to continue making enormous amounts of money. Our biosphere is being sacrificed so that rich people in countries like mine can live in luxury. It is the sufferings of the many which pay for the luxuries of the few. The year 2078, I will celebrate my 75th birthday. If I have children, maybe they will spend that day with me. Maybe they will ask me about you. Maybe they will ask why you didn't do anything while there still was time to act. You say you love your children above all else, and yet you are stealing their future in front of their very eyes. Until you start focusing on what needs to be done rather than what is politically possible, there is no hope. We cannot solve a crisis without treating it as a crisis. We need to keep the fossil fuels in the ground, and we need to focus on equity. And if solutions within this system are so impossible to find, then maybe we should change the system itself. We have not come here to beg world leaders to care. You have ignored us in the past, and you will ignore us again. We have run out of excuses, and we are running out of time. We have come here to let you know that change is coming, whether you like it or not. The real power belongs to the people. Thank you.